Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, April 1st, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Boyce. Martin.
Here.
Dole. Crockett. Geske.
Here.
Phillips.
We have a quorum. Before we do the minutes, we have one change on the agenda. Ordinance number 2326, which was under planning and zoning, the ordinance amending Title IX zoning by changing Chapter 16 photovoltaic systems of the municipal code for the village of Manteno. That is being taken off of the agenda and will come back in a week or in May. There's some language that was in there that's not exactly correct to match up with what the state was, so that needs to be redone. So that item is being taken off the agenda. Next item we have is the approval of our minutes. We have our board minutes from March 18th, 2024 that were included in everyone's packet, and hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review them. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I would accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Phillips, second by Boyce. Roll call.
Phillips.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Dole. Geske.
Yes.
Motion carries. Public comment. Tonight we have our first commenter is Sean McNamara. And just for information, for some of these new people that have not spoken or been here before, there is a 3-minute limitation on the public comment. So, Mr. McNamara.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak before you today. I am the current commander of the Manteno American Legion Post 755, and I'm here to talk to you about years of service in town. And one of the reasons why I'm coming before you today is I am an elected member. I do not get a paycheck for what I do at the post. I am in service and I continue to serve. And I'd like to see us reach out to some of the people that we don't service by being open earlier on those Sunday mornings. I am a longtime third shift worker. When I would get off of work at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, I would like to go someplace, and it wasn't my breakfast time. It was my dinner time. It was my relaxing time, and I wanted to go out with my coworkers and my friends and actually socialize in a more of a bar-type atmosphere. And I think that that is something that we are lacking in town, as well as it gives us an opportunity for those 2 or 3 extra hours a week to pull some revenue in that we might not have and allow businesses to be creative with what they can do with those 3 hours. Each business can do what they will. We have some ideas on what we at the Legion would do with those hours, and I think it would just be a great opportunity to service those people that work at the veterans home or the hospital or even the fire department that are looking for some place to go when they get off of work and just not ready to go home yet. Again, thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. The next commenter is Mark Shelton.
Thank you for your time. My name is Mark Sheldon. I'm the Vice President for Government and Community Relations for Pavlov Media. I'll be brief. I think all of you got a letter from me and a insert, a brochure about our company. I wanted to put a face and actually allow you to meet me a little bit after the letter. We are a high-speed internet company out of Champaign, Illinois. We've been in business for over 30 years now. We are expanding throughout central Illinois in the fiber to the home area. Right now we are finishing up our project in Pontiac, and we're coming up I-57. We're in Paris and Clinton, and now we're also building in places like Gainesville and north of Dallas in Texas. One of our areas now is Kankakee County. So we are looking at a number of communities in Kankakee County, and this is definitely one of them. We feel like there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of underservice here. We believe that fiber internet is the future for internet, and that you have to, you're going to need that in the future in order to grow and to give your families and your young people and that want to stay here. They want that kind of service. We do up to 8 gigs now in our fiber. Communicated. We were trying to remember if we tacked on the phone or just through emails, but I know you're looking at, pardon me, your right-of-way ordinance. We are already to design the network for here. So the next step for us is going to be to get that ordinance hopefully passed soon. Us bring the plans to your public works people, have them take a look at it, because we always want to communicate with the public works people. If you still have this, I really recommend you go to our page 5 here, which is our construction principles. And I will tell you that we put safety first in our networks. And when our construction process, we don't use things like blind boring. We communicate with your public works people. We communicate with the residents. We do everything we can to reduce the inconveniences, but to keep everybody in. I'm here just mostly to say hi, let you know that we are hoping to come as soon as you get your ordinance recrafted, and we think that there's a great future here and that we can be part of, being a good place for people to live and work in Manteno. So thank you very much, and we will continue to be in touch.
Thank you. Our next commenter is Matthew Glenn.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Glenn, and I'm the principal at Manteno Elementary School. I was before this board last month, and after the meeting, the village reached out and set up a meeting with the school district. And first of all, we want to say thank you. That line of communication to keep that door open of what's happening and the potential concerns that were raised, all of those, we sat down with Public Works, we sat down with the police department, and everyone involved to open those doors of communication to look at solutions that could be implemented as we go forward. And so we're just asking that we keep those doors open of communication and that we can work together. And we appreciate that so much, because there was ideas brought up that we did not think about, that the village brought to us to say, hey, maybe we put this in, maybe we do this. There are things that as this project, if that continues to develop on the end, we communicate with the village continuously so that we can keep our kids safe and we have a good working relationship. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. The next commenter is Annette Lamore.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you for giving me the time to speak. It will be short. An ordinance pertaining to nepotism and cronyism, because it seems like we hire so many people who are related to our elected officials and the mayor. So please consider doing that. It's highly recommended by the Municipal League, and it would make our town much better. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure if you all recall, I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, and Mr. Nugent, you agreed with Annette. She spoke on the issue of County Line Road and Route 50. Okay? Ms. Dole, the entire board, you're quick to reach out to the Kankakee County Board for economical opportunities. Annette just warned you of the dangers of that intersection. You understand what this family went through losing those 2 people this Easter? Some of us, I hate to say, took matters into their own hands and went out there with vibrant, bright signs telling people to slow down. That's not necessary. Why can't our county board contact the Will County Board to do something about that intersection? There's a change.org petition right now, gained roughly 1,000 signatures in one day. Mostly people that I'm seeing discussing back and forth about family members that were injured or almost killed in that intersection. It's unacceptable. Please do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Next commenter is David Kuiken.
Good evening. I'd just like to second what Paul said. Seems like we can get things done at a moment's notice around here, but you lead us to believe that you don't have anything to do with that intersection. I know it's not in the village, but it affects us all. As I think over things, I just wondered, and of course no questions are answered here, but on August 23rd of 23, you, Mr. Mayor, stood before the Kankakee County Board and recommended We give all sorts. You were there on behalf of the Kankakee Economic Alliance, but you were also the mayor of Manteno, were you not? I mean, just because, I mean, you didn't resign or abdicate your throne here or anything, did you? I mean, once you're the mayor, you're the mayor. No matter where you go, you're the mayor. You represent us as a people, and I think you usurped your fiduciary duty as mayor. The other thing is I know every time we talk about all this money that our governments are throwing to these people to build this plant, that, oh, don't worry about it. They've got to meet certain plateaus before we give them any money. What plateau did we reach for our governor to give them over $100 million so far? They don't need the money, but apparently we've reached a plateau.
Thank you. The next commenter is Francine Fattima.
Good evening. I'm going to speak a little bit about Goshen because, as you may be aware, I've spoken before on how we do not need that communist company in Manteno. Interestingly enough, the Daily Journal, I don't know what it's doing, but it's like deja vu. There's an article that was in Saturday's paper, which is a rehash of something that's been written back in September. It's very strange, unless they just want to make sure that people know this company's still here. Well, it may be still here. The title of the article says Goshen in Motion. I say that motion is and should be reverse. Regarding, so you know my opinion is Goshen should go. Again, this housing that's planned, all these apartments, and the principal reference, and he's thankful, which is fine, but I think it's a bad idea overall. I don't think that's being simplistic. I just think the density of it is a bad idea with all those little ones that are in direct proximity of that piece of land, which now is wide open and could be used for, who knows, soccer or something that kids could enjoy. I don't think there's any concern for the safety of the children. Now, the children involved are preschool to 5th grade. I mean, they're youngsters, and there aren't any sidewalks for them to walk on. Well, again, I guess it's a done deal, but I don't think so. It's never a done deal as long as the people want to fight it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Ron Brown.
Good evening. I haven't been here for a while. I took a hiatus for about a month and a half down to Florida. Much nicer down there. I saw something online, and it was more for Michigan, but a portion of this article says right here, it's a quote, "I think people have been hearing a lot of mistruth fabrications for the last 9 months." Chuck Thielen, Vice President of North American Manufacturing for Goshen Incorporated, said in an interview on Monday. "We're now on a mission to make sure to hear the truth, even though we've been speaking the truth, or people are not really hearing it. And now we're going to be a little bit more vocal." I'm wondering, will that apply here too? Because we have heard nothing from this board. We ask a lot of questions, get no answers, and I don't expect any record about what's really going on. Still no answers. The transparency is terrible. And that just drives me wild, that you guys won't talk to the people you supposedly represent, and you don't. Do you even care what the people of your community want? But there's a lot of questions that I've asked at the Planning Commission meeting. Chuck Thielen was there. He didn't answer any questions. I mean, why was there no environmental study done? What makes you people so sure that this is environmentally safe enough that you're just going to take Goshen on their word and not do any kind of study? Health-wise, too. No health studies. No studies whatsoever. No long-form CFIUS review. Why is everything so hush-hush, quiet, and you don't do anything to assure us anything? So I'm just going to ask that one of these days you have a minutes. I mean, you're giving these people a tax break for 30 years. I mean, I think they've already gone where they would be above the $2 million a year for taxes, and our taxes go up. The gas tax in this town is pathetic, and our property taxes go up. Everything's going up. But when are we going to hear some answers? That's what I want to know, on record. But it's not going to be tonight, I can see that. So someday, maybe we'll hear from you. Maybe you'll give us an answer. But until then, I haven't had one iota of respect for anybody on this board.
That's your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's like the CCP had
The
their
next,
song.
the next commenter is Bob Forsythe.
I think it's a little ironic that we have a board meeting on April Fool's Day. But, you know, it's about right. Well, we do have some ethics, and we should have some morals, and we seem to lack them here. Todd's not here tonight. I was hoping he was. He voted twice for the church window, and he's also doing the work. It's not right. Diane, you voted for the park. Is Tenco Construction your nephew, your brother-in-law, and does your son work for him? If so, we need to rebid it. It needs to be rebid and needs to be revoted. You cannot do this.
Bunch of cheaters.
This is really not right. You don't do this. It's not ethical, and I actually think it's against the law. I also wonder about the agenda that was posted on the door today, which I always thought they were supposed to be 24 hours in advance. And this was not. I mean, you guys do whatever you want, and then you sit and laugh at me. I don't like that either. You think it's funny, and it's not. It's a $2 million project going in over here that when you have Legacy Park right down the street off of Maple, there's nobody there. It's a big park, a lot of empty space. We have an ice rink that is in op most of the time. That could be pickleball. We have bathrooms down there. We have parking lot. But instead, we're going to spend $2 million because it goes to the Nugent family. And it's not right. Look how much money's been put out to the Nugent family since Tim took office. A lot. Is it $5 million? Will this make 7? You sit here and you think that this is a fun and games thing here. You got caught in your own game here, Tim. You guys are supposed to be honest, trustworthy people. And you're not. Not one of you sitting up here right now. And you get mad at us and you don't answer any questions. Even with Goshen. How many questions we have to come and ask? You signed an NDA as an Economic Alliance Board member. Not as the mayor of Manteno. Nobody in here signed an NDA from what I understand. And you all sit here with your mouth shut. Because you're told not to say a word. And Tim, if you gave those orders, you should be ashamed of yourself too, because you're supposed to represent us. We are the people of Manteno. And you spend money like it's nothing. But you know what? There is no money if you don't have the taxpayers. Government's broke without us. And Chris?
That's your time. Thank you.
When you go into that...
Thank you. Thank you. Village President's Report, a couple things tonight. One, I want to proclaim the April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We have a proclamation that was sent to us that asked to be approved, declaring April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas preventing child abuse and neglect is a community problem that depends on involvement among people throughout the community. Whereas we all have a responsibility as individuals, neighbors, community members, and citizens of the Village of Manteno. And whereas safe and healthy childhoods produce confident and successful adults. And whereas child abuse and neglect often occurs when people find themselves in stressful situations without community resources and don't know how to cope. And whereas the majority of child abuse cases stem from situations, conditions that are preventable in an engaged and supportive community. And whereas child abuse and neglect can be reduced by making sure each family has the support they need and raising their children in a safe, nurturing environment. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created among social service agencies, schools, faith, community, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and business community. Now therefore, I, Timothy O. Nugent, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the Village of Manteno, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families and thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the community in which we live. This will be signed and sent to the organization that is proclaiming or having a Child Abuse Prevention Month. The other item I have under my Village President's Report is a liquor ordinance under new business. We have Ordinance 2325, which is an ordinance amending Title III Business Regulations, Chapter 9, Liquor, Section 3-9-13, Hours of the Village of Manteno Municipal Code. This is the liquor ordinance that we spoke about at one or two of the committee meetings, I don't know which, and a consensus was not made, so we went ahead and put it on the agenda so a vote could be taken tonight, and it was the ordinance that was referred to earlier tonight. That will be on the consent agenda later on in the meeting. That's all I have as Village President's Report. Village Administrator, Mr. Larock.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one update tonight. The feed that goes out over Channel 4 for these board meetings, this will likely be the last one. We're having technical problems with some of the equipment as well as the cable feed that goes out over. But we do have the meeting. You can watch it on YouTube. YouTube Live carries it. They're able to program that through that channel. It's also posted on our website, usually on the day after the meeting, so you can always watch the meeting there as well. Just over that, so still watchable. And again, you can watch it the next day if you go to our website.
Yeah.
That's all I have tonight. Oh, one other, just make sure the board members turn their mics on when they talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larock. Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a couple items tonight. First one is Resolution 2311, resolution granting authority to Jim Hanley, Superintendent of Public Works, to enter into a joint participation agreement on behalf of the Village of Manteno and the state of Illinois, with the state of Illinois. These two are kind of tied together. Next one is Resolution 2312, a resolution for the maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code. This gives Jim Hanley the permission to negotiate, or basically accept the prices, it's a set price all around. That's all I got.
So these are all state bid prices that are negotiated and passed on to all the municipalities throughout the state?
Correct. It's the state salt contract, so I can do the, negotiating and talking to the controllers with that.
There's no negotiating on the price?
No, just sending back the paperwork back and forth just to make the purchase for the village.
And these all had to come to the board before?
This is the first time, so for the last 10 years I've been doing this, I guess it's new paperwork from the state.
Because we always vote on the MFT funds, and so that's not, this is a different...
This is a different one.
Okay. And then you'll report on whatever it is that it takes place either previous or after at the committee meetings. Okay.
Yep.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boyce. Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
No old business. The first two considerations are kind of housekeeping. Consideration of motion to approve the lease agreement between the Village of Manteno
and the Manteno Youth Baseball Softball League for the 3/1/24, 11/30/24 season. That's something we do every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something we've been, I mean, we take care of the park, we mow the park, but sometimes the park areas for the baseball diamonds are not short enough for what they want, and so they take over and do that to, after the Public Works does their thing over there. And, like I said, we established this ordinance because over the course of the years, there's been a number of different people in charge of the baseball program, and so this is something that they can pass on from year to year, so any new people coming in know what their requirements are and knows what the village requirements are.
And then the second one, right along the same line, is a motion to approve the lease agreement between the Village of Manteno and the Manteno Wildcat Football and Cheer for 7/1/24 through 11/30/24. Same thing.
Yeah, this is the same thing, only this is the first one we've done with the football program, isn't it?
This is actually the second year.
Okay, yes, last year we did it when they moved out to Legacy Park, so but it's basically the exact same thing with only a different park, different league.
And then the last one is, I turned my mic on. That worked out good, didn't it? Yeah. A motion to approve the purchase of the new netting for Heritage Park from Do-All Fence, Mokene, Illinois, for a price of $28,210. Jim?
Yep, this is the netting that we were looking to add between Field 1 and Field 2, and then to extend the third baseline for foul balls. Protection of the crowd for people sitting out.
Safety thing.
Safety.
And this was on the agenda several weeks ago, correct?
Yes.
And we pulled it off because there was some issues with the
Prevailing wages.
Prevailing wages,
Yep.
because the bid had been given to the baseball program and not to the village, and anything done with the village had to have prevailing wages.
Correct.
And, the next meeting is as needed. So I have.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any action items on the agenda tonight. My next public safety meeting is April 17th here at 7 a.m. in the village boardroom. My safety tip tonight is, as of July 1st, 2019, Illinois residents must be 21 years old to buy cigarettes, chewing tobacco, e-cigarettes, and vapes. This initiative, known as Tobacco 21, made Illinois the first state in the Midwest and the 10th state in the U.S. to prohibit the sale of tobacco products to people under 21. As of December 2019, the federal government followed suit, raising the age to buy tobacco and making 21 the national standard. To enforce these laws, local law enforcement periodically sends underage minors into retail establishments to test whether they can purchase cigarettes illegally. If the business sells cigarettes to the minor, the business can be fined as well as the clerk. Recently, every business that sells tobacco in Manteno was tested, and we're happy to report that we obtained 100% compliance with the law. No Manteno store sold tobacco to minors. This 100% compliance in Manteno shows businesses are doing their part to protect children and adolescents from tobacco products. Thank you to all the Manteno retailers for looking out for our kids. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dole. Planning and Zoning, Mr. Crockett is not here tonight. The only item he had on his agenda was taken off earlier, so he has no items under new business. He has a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting scheduled for April 23rd at 7 a.m., and the next Planning Commission meeting that was originally scheduled for April 9th has been canceled. Okay. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. I have ordinance 2324, an ordinance dissolving the special tax allocation fund for Central Business District redevelopment project area, otherwise known as TIF 1, in the village of Manteno, county of Kankakee, state of Illinois. As you know, our TIF 1 district ended December of 2021. This is the final step that will allow us to disperse the remaining funds to the taxing bodies. So just a general housekeeping item. Next item is Resolution 2313, a resolution of the Village of Manteno receiving and placing on file our preliminary budget for the fiscal year period of May 1, 2024 through April 30th, 2025. This will be posted, Chris, our preliminary budget?
Yeah, that'll be on the website tomorrow.
Okay. Also, payment of bills in the amount of $82,796.96, of which none were TIF bills. We did have bills authorized and paid between the board cycle in the amount of $42,607.17. And our next Finance Committee meeting has been moved to April 17th at 7 a.m. right here. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips, you have anything tonight?
I have nothing.
Okay. So the items we'll be voting on in the consent agenda are as follows. Under old business, we have nothing. Under new business, we have Resolution 2311, a resolution granting authority to Jim Hanley, Superintendent of Public Works, to enter into joint participation agreements on behalf of the Village of Manteno with the State of Illinois. Item number 2 is a motion to approve a lease agreement between the Village of Manteno and the Manteno Youth Baseball Softball League for 3/1/24 to 11/30/24. Item number 3 is a motion to approve a lease agreement between the Village of Manteno and Manteno Wildcat Football and Cheer for 7/1/24 through 11/30/24. Item number 4 is ordinance 2324, an ordinance dissolving special tax allocation fund for the Central Business District project area, TIF District Number 1, in the Village of Manteno, County of Kankakee, State of Illinois. Item number 5 is ordinance 2325, an ordinance amending Title III Business Regulations, Chapter 9, Liquor, Section 3-9-13 hours of the Village of Manteno Municipal Code. Item number 6 has been pulled off the agenda. Item number 7 is Resolution 2312, a resolution for maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code. Under number 8 is Resolution 2313, a resolution for the Village of Manteno receiving and placing on file the preliminary budget for the fiscal year period May 1, 24 through April 30th, 2025. Under awarding of bids, a motion to approve the purchase of netting for Heritage Park from Dewall Fence, Mokina, Illinois, for a price of $21,210, and a consideration to pay the bills in the amount of $82,796.96. None of them are TIF bills. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually?
Yeah, how about ordinance 2325?
You want to vote on that individually? Okay. Anything else? Okay, so the items that we'll be voting on the consent agenda is everything that I read except ordinance 2325. I will accept a motion to approve to take a single roll call vote on the question of passage of the agenda items as read.
So moved.
Motion by Geske. Second by Phillips. Roll call.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Boyce? Martin? Dole?
Yes.
Motion carries. I accept the motion to approve by omnibus vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read, with the exception of item ordinance 2325.
So moved.
Motion by Geske.
Second.
Second by Dole. Roll call.
Geske?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Boyce?
Then we have ordinance 2325, an ordinance amending Title III Business Regulations, Chapter 9, Liquor, Section 3-9-13 hours of the Village of Manteno Municipal Code. Do I have a motion to approve that ordinance?
Make a motion.
Motion by Martin. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Boyce. Roll call.
Martin?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Dole?
No.
Crockett? Geske?
No.
Phillips?
No.
I vote no. Motion defeated. Mr. Boyce, you have anything tonight?
No comment tonight, thank you.
Mr. Martin?
Other comments, sorry.
Mrs. Dole?
Well, yeah, my concern about changing the liquor license hours is we changed it several years ago. And obviously, there's always someone that appreciates it, but also dislikes it. The local churches were reached out to, and a couple of them have said no, they really didn't want that to be changed either. Our local delicious restaurants provide breakfast after church to many parishioners and their families. I would not want to take the breakfast crowd away from our local restaurants. So, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Dole. Mr. Geske?
2 items. First, I heard in public comment about the Route 15 County Line Highway, and I think everyone on the board here has seen the emails that have gone forward, and none of us, if we could change it, we would. But there has been some emails sent from some public officials to the state. Is that correct, Diane? I think you
Correct.
saw a copy of some of those and forwarded them on to us. So there is some movement on there. Unfortunately, we don't have the magic wand to change it, and I think it's a pretty big undertaking for what's got to happen. I will tell you that, speaking firsthand, my wife and daughter were both hit at the same exact spot several years ago. If I could change it, I would. Just terrible, terrible thing. Next thing is talk about a couple of comments that we hear as board members, and one of them about us doing the parks. Reuter Park, I've heard people say, why haven't we done anything with Reuter Park? And as we sit here today and it's raining, go past Reuter Park. That's why we don't put more money into it. We're limited to what we can do because it's all underwater. It's Lake Reuter Park right now. So we do the best we can. It's not perfect, but there's a prime example. Anyone who is watching and has a question about it, go by it. It speaks for itself, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. Mr. Phillips?
And on the same token, somebody doing 50 to 60 miles an hour over the railroad tracks, run the stop sign. Somebody almost killed a friend of mine at 7,000. The guy run the stop sign at 60 miles an hour and hit him. There ain't a lot you can do about that if people are not paying attention. But it's a dirty shame. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have nothing further. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Geske, second by Boyce. Roll call.
Geske?
Yes.
Boyce? Martin? Dole?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming, for watching.